Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano is one of the clearest examples of a gray Jedi in Star Wars canon. She was trained by Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars and became a skilled Jedi Padawan. But after being wrongly accused of a crime and feeling betrayed by the Jedi Council, she walked away from the Order completely. That decision alone is massive. She basically said, no thanks to everything the Jedi stood for, even though she still fought for good. Even after leaving the Order, Ahsoka continued using the Force, carried lightsabers, and fought against evil, like when she helped take down Maul on Mandalore and later resisted the Empire in Star Wars Rebels. She wasn't officially a Jedi anymore, but she still lived by similar values. She even went head-to-head with Darth Vader, her former master, in one of the most emotional fights in Star Wars. She wasn't fighting for the Jedi. She was fighting for what she believed was right. Later in The Mandalorian, she straight up tells Din Djarin that she's no Jedi, even though she's still clearly doing Jedi-like things. That line alone tells us she doesn't follow the Jedi Code or the Order anymore, but she's not a Sith either. She's somewhere in the middle, exactly what a gray Jedi is. Ahsoka does what she thinks is right, not what the Jedi or Sith say is right. That's what makes her such a powerful and independent character in the galaxy. She trusts the Force, but she follows her own path. Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn was a Jedi Master who basically did his own thing, even when the Jedi Council didn't agree with him. He believed in the Force first, not rules, not politics, not traditions. That's a huge reason why he fits the gray Jedi label. He listened to the living Force, which meant acting on instinct and being in the moment, instead of just following the Jedi Code to the letter. He trained Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even though Obi-Wan was a by-the-book Jedi, Qui-Gon was more of a wild card. He didn't care about Jedi rules if he thought they were wrong. For example, he was the only one on the council who wanted to train Anakin Skywalker. The others were scared of Anakin's future, but Qui-Gon saw potential and trusted the Force. Imagine how different the galaxy might have been if he'd lived to train Anakin himself. He also discovered how to become one with the Force after death, something most Jedi hadn't figured out. That's how he was able to speak to Yoda and Obi-Wan after dying. He wasn't a Sith, and he didn't turn dark, but he definitely wasn't your average Jedi either. He walked his own path. Baylan Skoll. Baylan Skoll is a brand new kind of Force user introduced in the Ahsoka series, and he's a textbook gray Jedi. He's not part of the Jedi Order anymore, but he's also not a Sith. He's a former Jedi Knight who survived Order 66 and decided the Jedi way wasn't working. He saw the Jedi fail, the Republic fall, and the Empire rise, so he stopped believing in the old system entirely. Now, he works as a mercenary, but not just for money. He has a bigger plan. Baylan believes the galaxy needs a full reset. He wants to find the source of the Force on the ancient planet Peridea, hoping to break the cycle of Jedi versus Sith and start something new. That's way deeper than just being a fallen Jedi or a dark side user. Even though he fights against Ahsoka and trains his own apprentice, Shin Hati, he doesn't act like a villain. He's calm, respectful, and even shows mercy. He doesn't crave power like a Sith, and he doesn't follow Jedi rules either. He's walking a completely different path, guided by his own beliefs about balance, order, and destiny. That's gray Jedi energy all the way through. Ezra Bridger. Ezra Bridger started out as a street kid on Lothal, but eventually became a powerful Jedi in training under Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels. What makes Ezra different is that he constantly walks the line between light and dark. He's not evil, but he's not afraid to use questionable methods if it means protecting his friends or doing what he thinks is right. He once used the Sith holocron with Maul. Yeah, that Maul. To try and find a way to defeat the Empire. That's a huge red flag for any traditional Jedi. But Ezra didn't care about Jedi rules. He wanted results. Even Kanan warned him about going too far. And yet, Ezra never fully fell to the dark side. He resisted Maul's influence and eventually destroyed the Sith holocron. Ezra also learned how to connect deeply with the Force, even forming bonds with creatures like the Lothwolves and the Purgil, those space whales that helped him pull Thrawn into hyperspace. That move alone took insane trust in the Force, and it showed he wasn't about power. He was about purpose. Ezra might have trained as a Jedi, but he doesn't fit their mold. He follows his heart, trusts the Force, and does what he believes is right, even if it's not what the Jedi would have done. Rey. Rey unfortunately ended up taking the Skywalker name, but she never trained in the traditional Jedi way. She learned most of what she knew by herself on Jakku, using instinct and raw connection to the Force. When she finally met Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, he wasn't exactly the ideal Jedi Master. He was bitter, cut off from the Force, and had lost faith in the Jedi Order. So Rey didn't get much of a classic Jedi education. Even when she trained with Leia Organa, it was short and focused more on survival and intuition than Jedi philosophy. Rey used both the light side and, at times, elements of the dark side. She tapped into anger and fear during her fights, especially against Kylo Ren. At one point, she even used Force Lightning, which is usually a Sith-only move. But she didn't fall. She stayed true to herself. She also carried both Luke's and Leia's lightsabers and eventually made her own yellow-bladed lightsaber, a rare color in canon that represents balance and independence. Rey didn't follow the Jedi Code strictly, but she wasn't dark either. She chose her own identity, her own destiny, and found her own balance in the Force. That's gray Jedi material. Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker is one of the most complicated Force users in all of Star Wars. Before he became Darth Vader, Anakin constantly broke Jedi rules, even when he was still a knight. He loved Padme in secret, formed emotional attachments, and acted on his feelings, all things the Jedi Council strictly warned against. But Anakin didn't care about following the code. He cared about people. He was trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi, but had a completely different view of the Force. Instead of total self-control, Anakin believed in using power to protect the people he loved, especially Padme and Ahsoka. That passion made him stronger, but it also pulled him toward the dark side. Now, here's where the gray Jedi angle comes in. Before fully becoming Vader, Anakin wasn't evil. He just stopped trusting the Jedi. He saw the Order as corrupt, blind, and too focused on politics. Even during the Clone Wars, he often took matters into his own hands, making decisions the Council never approved. Yes, he eventually fell and became a Sith, but his journey started from a place of independence, not evil. Anakin believed in doing what was right, not just what the Jedi told him was right. That kind of mindset, right between Jedi and Sith, is classic gray Jedi thinking.